Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Wahidullah and I am chemistry lecturer here at Cordoba School and Colleges. Dear student, we had started 10th class course as usual. I used to say it's our third lecture of chapter number 7, and today we are going to discuss one of the important topic, that is composition of water. So what will be the lecture content? So that include a little bit of background. Number two, composition of water by volume. Number third, we are going to discuss composition of water by mass. As I said that what we are going to discuss, that is composition of water. So what is water? Its formula is actually H2O. There was a scientist, his name was Henry Cavendish, and that scientist he was the first scientist who came up and said that water is not an element. Before his statement और his proved कहा ये जाता था कि वाटर हमारे पास एक एलिमेंट है, जिस तरह के एक हाइड्रोजन एक एलिमेंट है, कार्बन एक एलिमेंट है, ऑक्सीजन एक एलिमेंट है. So they were thinking that hydrogen is an element before Henry Cavendish, but he came up with a proof and he said that no, water is not an element, rather it's a molecule or a compound, or specifically we say that it's a molecular compounds or molecular compounds. So you might be confused in these words, molecular compounds. So if your answer is yes, if you are confused, so let me tell you that molecules are made up of elements. Compounds are also made up of elements. The difference between both of them is that they might be made up of same or different elements, but the compounds should be made up of different elements. So it's mean that all the compounds will be molecule, but not all the molecules are compounds. And the compounds which are made up of different elements, they are called as molecular compounds. So therefore I told you that actually the molecules, the water is actually a molecular compound. So that was Henry Cavendish who came up and he said that water is actually H2O. Water is actually what? That is a molecular compound. Now that was a little background about the water, that before Henry Cavendish water was called as an element, but after his statement or after his experiment, or he proved that no, water is not an element, because it consists of more than 2 elements, that is number of 3 elements. So that's why the water is called as molecular compounds. Now composition of water by volume. So as we know, if you look at the formula, so you can see that a water formula is H2O, which means that it is made up of 2 hydrogen atom and it is made up of 1 oxygen atom. So it means that the composition of water by volume is 2:1, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So the ratio is just like that. But how to prove that? That is actually proved through an experiment, and that is through specifically through electrolysis of water. Through electrolysis of water, and that electrolysis is actually carried out in a special instrument that is called Hofmann voltameter. So actually this instrument is used in order to detect the composition, or in order to determine the composition of water by its volume. So that is 2:1, and that is determined with the help of Hofmann voltmeter. So the basic or the rough diagram of the Hofmann voltmeter is just like I am drawing that. That is a rough diagram of Hofmann voltmeter. So what happens, like here, remember students that we said that electrolysis of water. So water electrolysis mean when electricity is used to lyse, break the molecules of water. So यहाँ पे होता क्या है कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी या इलेक्ट्रिक पावर को यूज करके लाइसिस कर दी जाती है, इसके टुकड़े टुकड़े कर दिए जाते हैं वाटर के. तो वो प्रोसेस जो होता है उसे हम कहते हैं इलेक्ट्रोलाइसिस. तो यहाँ पे जब हम कंपोजिशन, व्हेन वी वांट टू डिटरमिन द कंपोजिशन ऑफ वाटर बाय इट्स वॉल्यूम, सो द बेसिक प्रिंसिपल बिहाइंड दैट इज दैट electrolysis of water should be carried out, and that electrolysis of water is carried out in the presence of an acid H2SO4. So here acidified water, this water is called as acidified water. So when electric current is applied here at this section, we are having anode, and anode is actually positively charged, while cathode is present here, and that is negatively charged. So when electric current is applied through this solution, the water split up into hydrogen gases and oxygen gases. As oxygen carries an extra 2 pairs of electron, so that it means that it's having a slight negative charge, so that will move towards the anode and will escape through this point. So you can determine it like from here, the number of water molecules escaped here. And same is the case with the H2. Like H2, we know that it will move towards negatively charged, and they will move from this portion, and we will determine the number of molecules of H2 escaped from this region. So that was actually a rough diagram of Hofmann voltmeter, and with the help of that instrument or that device, we are able to find or to actually determine the composition of water by volume, and that is 2:1. We will be having 2 atoms of hydrogen with 1 atom of oxygen. Now it's time to tell you about the composition of water by mass. So there was another scientist, his name was Joseph Frost, and he experimentally proved that the composition of water by mass is 1:8. So as we know that the formula of water is H2O, and we know that the atomic mass of water is 1.01, and that of oxygen is 16. So the composition of water by mass was determined by Joseph Frost. This was the scientist who actually experimentally determined experimentally determine the composition of water by mass. So उसने किया क्या, जैसे कि आप लोग देख सकते हैं कि हमने कहा कि वाटर का फार्मूला ये है, इसमें 2 हाइड्रोजन है और 1 ऑक्सीजन है. हाइड्रोजन के एक एटम का वेट हमारे पास ये बनता है 1.01, और ऑक्सीजन के एक एटम का वेट हमारे पास ये बनता है. और इस तरह हमारे पास हाइड्रोजन के 2 एटम है, तो इसका मतलब है कि 2.02 plus 16 equals to 18.02 एटॉमिक मास यूनिट आप कह दें. तो हमारे पास अगर हम यहाँ पे वाटर में हाइड्रोजन की कंपोजिशन फाइंड करना चाहते हैं, या परसेंटेज फाइंड करना चाहते हैं, या ऑक्सीजन की परसेंटेज फाइंड करना चाहते हैं, जो कि जोसेफ फ्रॉस्ट ने डिटरमिन किया था, तो दैट इज़ वेरी वेरी सिंपल. हमने यहाँ पे लिख लिया है कि हमारे पास ये है, या हम कह सकते हैं कि हम यहाँ पे अगर मोलर मास को लिख लें कि मोलर मास हमारे पास वाटर का क्या है, जब हम ये रिलेटिव एटॉमिक मास या मॉलिक्यूलर मास को एक्सप्रेस करते हैं हम ग्राम्स पर मोल में, तो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज मोलर मास, ग्राम पर मोल। तो यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं कि वाटर का जो मोलर मास है दैट इज 18.022 ग्राम। सो अगर आप लेट्स सपोज अकॉर्डिंग टू जोसेफ फ्रॉस्ट इफ यू वांट टू डिटरमिन द परसेंटेज और कंपोजिशन ऑफ हाइड्रोजन इन वाटर, सो दैट इज रियली वेरी सिंपल। यू हैव टू डू परसेंटेज ऑफ हाइड्रोजन, so we know that what you have to do, you have to write the molar mass of hydrogen divided by the molar mass of water। ये आप लोगों ने 9th क्लास में भी ये फार्मूला पढ़ा हुआ है, मल्टीप्लाई 100। तो यहाँ पे क्या होगा, मोलर मास ऑफ हाइड्रोजन हमारे पास क्या है, दैट इज 2.02। मोलर मास ऑफ वाटर क्या है, दैट इज 18.02 मल्टीप्लाई 100। तो यहाँ पे आपके पास जो आंसर आ जाएगा दैट विल बी 11.11%। ओके, that is 11.11%. So the same procedure will be applied to the for oxygen. So when we want, or according to Joseph Frost, to experimentally determine the percentage of oxygen is molar mass of oxygen plus we can write it like molar mass of water multiply 100. So we know that the molar mass of hydrogen is actually oxygen is 16. So dividing it by the molar mass of water, so that is actually 18.02 multiply 100. So the answer would be 88.88%. So now we can say that the percentage of hydrogen is 11.11%, while the percentage of oxygen is 88.88%. So now taking it in a ratio form, so that would become कि हमारे पास percentage जो है वो ये है। अगर जनरली अब आप इसे फर्दर क्लासिफिकेशन इसकी कर लेते हैं तो 11.11 तो आपके पास आ जाता है 1:8। तो हमारे पास यहाँ पे एक हिस्सा जो है वो हाइड्रोजन होगा और इसके 8 हिस्से जो हैं दैट विल बी ऑक्सीजन। या आप कह सकते हैं कि अगर वाटर में सिंपली अगर एक हाइड्रोजन होगा, सॉरी, या दो हाइड्रोजन होंगे तो इसके साथ हमारे पास हाफ O2 हम ये भी कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन यूजली हमारे पास O2 की फॉर्म में एग्जिस्ट करता है, एटॉमिक फॉर्म में इतना नहीं होता। तो यहाँ पे अगर हम देख सकते हैं एटॉमिक फॉर्म में स्टेबल नहीं है, इस फॉर्म में ज़्यादा स्टेबल है, या हमारे पास किसी दूसरे कंपाउंड्स में होगा, तो हम यहाँ पे ये लिख सकते हैं अगर दो एटम्स हमारे पास हाइड्रोजन के हैं दो, तो यहाँ पे हमारे पास क्या होगा, वाटर O2 जो है इसका 16 वेट बनता है, क्योंकि O2 का वेट 32 है और हमने हाफ लिया हुआ है, तो दैट इज इक्वल टू 16। तो आप इसे इस तरह भी रिप्रेजेंट कर सकते हैं कि H2 plus half O2. So dear students, what we did today, we discussed the composition of water. In the first section, we throw light on its background. Like before Henry Cavendish, the water was called as an element, but after Henry Cavendish's statement or its experimental proof, we came to know that no, water is not an element, rather it's a molecular compound. Second is that we came to know about the composition of water by volume. So the percentage of or you can say that the ratio of hydrogen to oxygen when we talk about the in terms of composition by volume, so that is actually 2:1. So as you can see by volume, we can say that it's we are having two hydrogen atoms in one part of that of oxygen. But when we talk about the composition by its mass, so we came to know that no, the percentage, or you can say the ratio of hydrogen to the oxygen is actually 1:8. We will be having 1 part of hydrogen with 8 part of oxygen in a water molecule. So dear student, that was all about the composition of water. Thank you so much for your time. Stay home and stay safe.